English-speaking world, there's a monster hiding in plain sight. It is a disaster that we have turned a blind eye to for decades. It's not political issues, it's not social issues, it's nothing like that. It's time to talk about it. It's time to talk about removing the letter C. What's wrong with the letter C? I like it, and it looks nice, and you're right, it does look nice. It's, it's clean, it's nice, it's got a nice little swoosh. I'm not knocking the aesthetics. The letter C is like a bad ex. You start dating them because they look cute, and then 2 months later, you realize they're a piece of human garbage, and you inevitably break up. That relationship was never going to last. But why? Why is the letter C so awful? Well, let me introduce you to the concept of phonetic consistency. A phonetically consistent language is a language that will always sound exactly as it looks. If I write a letter or a string of letters, that string of letters will always be pronounced the exact same way, no exceptions. Imagine if English could be like that. Imagine, how many times have you looked at a word and been like, how on earth do you pronounce that? It sounds a little unattainable, and maybe for English, full consistency, 100%, might be impossible. But we can do a lot better. There are many examples of fully phonetically consistent languages out there today. The one I'm most familiar with is Japanese. The Japanese alphabet is a bit more complex. It has 2 sets of about 48 characters each. There's also kanji, but I won't get into that. And that sounds bad, but it's surprisingly easy to get your head around. But even if it wasn't, I would still much rather have that increased complexity, because with a larger alphabet comes greater precision. This is the letter key. This is the symbol for key. It is key, it will always be key. If pronunciation will not change, it cannot change. This is key. Now, this sort of consistency is incredible, because I can look at this and instantly know this is pronounced Ohayo gozaimasu. There's no confusion, just speaking. That's amazing. But when I look at the English section here, I mean, guys, what am I looking at? The letter G makes a G sound unless you're going to a gymnasium for some reason. And gosh, we've wasted like probably years of human life that we will never get back just because we're too busy arguing if this was GIF or GIF. Why? And then we got this word here, We got daughter, right? That's a word. And let me just cross out the D, put an L. Now it's laughter. Are you kidding me? And then I have hair on my head, but for some reason as Americans we decided this is an herb. An herb? What's up with that, America? And we make fun of British people for calling it a herb. Oh, they're so fancy with their herbs. They're just pronouncing it correctly. What do you want from them? Maybe our good friend C will come along and help us cherish the small bit of phonetic consistency that we do have. Except no, because apparently I'm a chemist who has absolutely no regard for linguistic rules. So obviously this is bad. Obviously this needs to change. But I just showed you multiple examples of phonetic inconsistency in English that doesn't involve the letter C, so why should we start there? Well, for starters, it's in a lot of words. It's an incredibly common letter, so we will be killing a lot of birds with just one stone. But besides that, it's also one of the simplest places to start. All you have to do is replace a K with a K and a S with an S. That's it. Cat becomes cat, price becomes price, and clock, this abomination of a spelling, becomes clock. Now the immediate pushback that you'll get is, what about CH? How are we going to say ch, huh? Bet you didn't think about that. What about CH? What about it? Neither a K nor an S sound combined with an H will give you a ch sound. We've already decided that SH should be sh, and KH is just what you write when you want to name your fictional place Condria and you think the KH looks cool. It's just a K sound. The actual way that you will get a ch sound is by combining T with SH. T-sh, sh, 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 sh. That's how you get there. Now, TSH is 3 letters, so it would make sense to have a separate representation for it that is shorter. But CH just doesn't make sense for that. It would make more sense, honestly, to have an entirely new letter. Maybe we can have our friend C be assigned to that new job. Something it's not bad at, something it was designed to do. In reality, will any of this ever happen? No. It's incredibly difficult to change a worldwide system to get everybody to agree to a new idea. We live in a world that has been using the metric system for decades now, and the United States of America has decided to this day that no, inches, feet, and miles suit us just fine. What a bunch of dummies, but who knows? I mean, maybe Esperance isn't dead. Maybe, sometimes through a small group of people and thoughtful discussion, public opinion is swayed and progress is made. Or maybe the letter C will stay with us for years to come. But at least now you know why it should be PBA. Thank you.